Divorce rates started rising in China as couples emerged from quarantine. This leaves some people in the U.S. worried about what that could mean for our own marriages. Maison Vie licensed marriage and family therapist Susan Harrington joins us this morning via Google Duo with some tips for married couples as they spend a lot of extra time together right now. Good morning, Susan.
Good morning. How are you today?
Good, thank you. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. So obviously a lot of people, cooped up in their homes,
Right.
husband and wives or spouses, together, spending a lot of time together. How do you avoid, just fights that are inevitable to happen just because people are spending so much time together? It's a stressful time and a scary time as well.
It is, and this is the time when we start to read all the social media pieces that come up and that get advertised, and those sorts of things can increase someone who has anxiety. It can increase it more. It can add that to someone who's usually not anxious because there's more tension in the house. It can increase depression rates for folks as well. It can cause the distress between couples to go up as well, and so those things cause a lot of discord. So it's really important that we think about what we're doing and how we're doing it.
In addition to seeing the divorce rate rising in China, you were telling me that there's also a really serious situation happening in Spain right now.
There is, and that's one of the scary pieces. So we also have reports that the domestic violence calls are going up. For people who live in a relationship where there's lots of anger, that's the way of addressing things. We don't have another skill for that. Then what happens when there's already anger in the home? It intensifies because anxiety is the core to anger. It's what fuels it inside of our system. And so when we already have that tension in the house, and it rises even more. And if there's already domestic violence in that home, it rises even more. And so in Spain, those calls are going up. And my concern as a marriage and family therapist is that people who are reading that here in our community are going to believe this will happen to me, when that's not necessarily so. We can address it early.
So what do families do to try to, you want to spend time with your loved ones, but you also want to have your own individual time? What do you do to kind of avoid these problems?
So what you're saying is really accurate. So we want to be okay with me time, us time, you time. And so us means us as a couple, us means myself with my child, us means myself with another child. That means the children together. That means individually doing our own thing. And so that's one of the advantages to the school systems now going online in our community, because it allows the children to get focused on schoolwork. And for parents who can separate that for a minute and go do something on their own and come back in, that's great, while the child tries to work on it on their own. Now, we do have families who don't have that ability. Like, for example, if their children are diagnosed with ADHD, that one-on-one helps them interact a little better. And so in those situations, that's when something we call shared responsibility for the adults in the home is really important. So if you're in a home and you're a single parent and there's not another adult in the home, it might be really important to keep another adult who knows your children well, like an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent, to be a part of that dynamic, if at all possible. This is the time when that old adage, it takes a community to raise a child, can really be helpful.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't have to be present. They can be on speakerphone helping the child do the homework.
Sure.
Right? Or on a video call like we're doing today.
Right, exactly. All right. Well, Susan Harrington, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.